The air was cold that evening, the kind that nipped at your skin but made everything feel sharper, clearer. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, partly from the wind. Mostly from what I was about to do. Claire stood a few feet away, brushing her hair behind her ear, smiling at me like I was the only man in the world. For 3 years, I believed I was. "Ethan, why are you looking at me like that?" she asked, her voice light. I laughed nervously. "Just give me a second." Her eyes narrowed playfully. "What are you up to?" My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out the small velvet box I'd been carrying for weeks, and dropped to one knee. Her smile froze. "Claire," I began, my throat tight. 3 years ago, I didn't have much. I still don't have much. But what I do have, every dream, every hope, every heartbeat, has been about you. You've been my home, my best friend, my reason to work harder every day. I need to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" She blinked rapidly, like she wasn't sure she'd heard me right, Ethan. I opened the box, revealing the ring I'd saved for months to buy. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't big, but it was everything I could give. She stared at it, then at me. "It's beautiful," smiled in relief. "So, is that a yes?" She bit her lip, her gaze shifting away for a second too long. "I don't know what to say you don't know." My stomach dropped. "It's not that I don't care about you," she said quickly, reaching for my hand. "I do. You're good to me, Ethan. You've always been good to me. Then what's wrong?" Her eyes were glossy now, but there was something else there. Hesitation, maybe fear. "I just need time," I forced a nod, even though it felt like the ground beneath me was crumbling. "'Kay, time. I can give you that." She hugged me. But it felt different, looser, like she was already halfway gone. 2 weeks later, I was scrolling through my phone when Jake's text came through. "Jake, you've seen this, right?" "Me? Seen what?" A link followed. I tapped it. There it was, an engagement announcement in the city paper. Claire Bennett. Engaged to Ryan Mercer. I read it twice, my chest tightening. Ryan Mercer. The name alone was like a punch. I'd seen him. Around town, tailored suits, expensive cars. The kind of man who looked like he'd never heard the word no in his life. I called her. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Ethan." "Don't say my name like that," I said, my voice shaking. "Is it true?" Silence. "Claire," I pressed, "you're marrying Ryan Mercer." She exhaled slowly. "I was going to tell you when." "After the wedding?" My words were sharper than I intended, but I couldn't stop. "I asked you to marry me, Claire. I loved you, gave you everything I could." "I know," she said softly. "Then why?" Her voice dropped almost to a whisper. "'Cause you can't give me the life I deserve." The words cut deeper than anything else she could have said. "I thought I was enough," I said, my voice cracking. "You are, in some ways."
"It is."
"But Ethan, I've lived my whole life watching people settle for less. I can't do that. Ryan can give me security, stability, things you can't right now." "Security?" I let out a bitter laugh. "You mean money? Don't twist it." "I'm not twisting anything. You're choosing his wallet over my heart." She was quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen." "Like this." "Yeah," I said, my throat burning. Neither did I. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my dark apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our relationship, every laugh, every kiss, every whispered promise. None of it mattered now. In the morning, Jake showed up uninvited. "Man," he said, dropping a bag of takeout on the table. "You look like hell." "Thanks," I muttered. He sat across from me. "You gonna talk about it, or just sit there like a ghost?" "What's there to talk about?" She made her choice. He leaned forward. "What about you? You gonna just let her walk away like that?" "She already did," I said, staring at my coffee. "What am I supposed to do? Compete with a guy who probably spends more on his watch than I make in a year?" Jake shrugged. "Maybe you don't compete, but you work your ass off until you don't have to." I looked up at him. Then what? Show up in a nicer suit and hope she notices. Not for her, he said firmly. For you. So no one can ever make you feel like you're not enough again. I didn't answer, but his words stuck with me long after he left. That night, I pulled the ring box from my pocket. I held it in my palm, feeling its weight. It wasn't just metal and stone. It was every hour I worked overtime, every meal I skipped to save money, every dream I'd poured into her, and now it was nothing. I closed the box and set it in the drawer. Not as a keepsake, as a reminder. That was the night I stopped thinking about what I'd lost and started thinking about what I'd become. The morning after I found out about Claire and Ryan, I barely made it to work. My eyes burned from staying. Awake all night, my head felt like it was full of sand, and the only thing keeping me upright was caffeine. Ethan, you good? My boss, Mr. Hale, asked as I walked past his office. Yeah, I lied. I wasn't good. I was anything but good. By noon, I'd messed up 2 reports, sent an email to the wrong client, and snapped at a coworker for asking a simple question. Mr. Hale called me in before the day was over. Close the door, he said. I did, sinking into the chair opposite his desk. I know you've been going through something, he started, but this is the 3rd mistake this week. We can't keep covering for you. I'll fix it, I said quickly. I need a little time. He shook his head. You need time, and we need someone who's focused. I'm sorry, Ethan. We have to let you go. It felt like someone had punched me in the ribs. You're firing me? You're a smart guy? You'll land on your feet? But right now, you're not in the game. 2 weeks later, my savings were drying up. Rent was due. My fridge looked like a sad bachelor's cliché, half a bottle of ketchup, a carton of eggs, and a beer I didn't remember buying. Jake knocked on my door one evening, loud enough to wake the dead. You planning to open up? Are you waiting for me to break the lock? He called. I let him in. Want? He looked around my apartment and frowned. Man, it's like a crime scene in here. I cleaned last week. You mean you moved the pizza boxes from the couch to the counter? Impressive. He dropped a bag of takeout on the table. Eat. You look like a starving raccoon. I'm fine. No, you're not. You lost your girl, your job, and apparently your will to shower regularly. What's the plan, Ethan? Just waste away in here. I'm figuring it out, I muttered. Doesn't look like it. I glared at him. You think I like this? You think I want to be the guy everyone feels sorry for? And stop being that guy, he shot back. Get up, shave, and do something. Like what? I don't know, start a business, get a better job. Just don't let this define you. I sank into the chair. She didn't just leave me, Jake. She traded me for someone richer. Like I was an old car she could sell for scrap.
Oh.
How do you bounce back from that? You bounce back by making sure nobody can ever trade you in again, he said. Her, not anyone. That night I couldn't sleep. Jake's words wouldn't leave my head. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and typed Ryan Mercer net worth into the search bar. The results made my stomach twist. He was worth millions. Every picture of him looked like it had been pulled from a lifestyle magazine. Perfect hair, perfect suits, perfect smug smile. I dug deeper. Real estate investments, corporate partnerships, a charity foundation. But one thing stood out: his biggest asset wasn't his companies. It was a mid-sized regional bank he partially owned. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen. A bank. Banks meant control. They meant influence. They meant stability, the exact things Claire said I couldn't give her. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something other than pain. I felt possibility. The next morning, Jake showed up again, holding 2 coffees. Why are you smiling? He asked suspiciously. I was thinking last night, I said, taking the cup. What if I could get into the same game Ryan's playing? Mean wearing overpriced suits and talking down to people? I mean business, investments, owning things that matter. Jake raised an eyebrow. And how exactly are you going to do that? You just got fired. Your bank account's probably wheezing for air. I can learn, I said. I've got time, and I know how to work hard. Learning's fine. But this isn't some weekend. Project Ethan. It's a war. I smirked. Then I'll treat it like one. The next weeks were brutal. I signed up for online finance courses, read everything I could about investments, and started attending local business meets. Most nights, I was up until 3, my eyes burning from staring at spreadsheets. Jake checked in often, usually with sarcasm. "Wow," he said one night, watching me highlight numbers on a printout. "You've officially become the most boring person I know." "Good," I replied. "Boring people make money." He grinned. "You start wearing sweater. Vests. I'm out." I took on small freelance work, budget planning, debt consultations, anything that paid enough to keep the lights on. Every client I helped was another step forward, another brick in the foundation I was building, and every time I got tired, I thought of Claire's voice saying, "You can't give me the life I deserve." One night I found myself scrolling through the bank's financial records online. There it was, publicly available shareholder reports. Ryan owned a big piece, but not all of it. There were gaps, opportunities. My pulse quickened. I didn't know exactly how I'd do it yet, but I knew. One thing, if I ever got my hands on part of that bank, the balance of power would shift. The office was smaller than I expected for desks, coffee machine older than me, and a faded sign that read Finch and Associates. Mr. Finch looked up from his computer. "You're the guy who called yesterday?" "Ethan Cole," I said, shaking. His hand, "You said you needed someone who learns fast." He eyed me. "We do financial consulting, mostly small business clients. Pay's not great. Ours are worse. I'll take it." "You don't even know the number yet." "I'm not here for the paycheck." I got a smirk out of him. "All right, you start now." By noon, I was buried in spreadsheets. Numbers blurred together, but I forced myself to keep going. Every client call was a mini lesson. Every contract, a puzzle I had to solve. At 6, Mr. Finch handed me a folder. "Take this home. Read it. Come back tomorrow, knowing it better than the client does." "I can do that." "You will do that or you won't last here." That night, Jake dropped by, holding a bag of greasy burgers. "You look like you've been hit by a bus." He said, "Good. Means I'm working." "We're killing yourself. You've been at this non-stop since you got the job." "I'm building something, Jake. I can't slow down now." He sat on the couch. "I'm just saying, don't let this turn into an obsession that eats you alive." "Obsession is fuel?" He shook his head. "Or poison." Days bled into nights. My desk at home turned into a fortress of coffee cups and highlighters. One night, while scrolling through merger case studies, I muttered, "Why would they pay double market value for an acquisition?" A voice behind me answered, "Strategic positioning." They probably wanted the patents, not the product. I spun around. A woman stood in the doorway, blazer, neat hair, eyes sharp enough to cut glass. "You're Olivia, right?" I asked. "The lawyer Mr. Finch works with sometimes?" She nodded. "And you're the new guy who's apparently trying to learn corporate law overnight?" "I'm learning finance, not law. They overlap more than you think." She walked over, glanced at my screen and pointed. "That case? The company's lawyers structured the deal so competitors couldn't bid. That's why the price was high." I blinked. "You just know that off the top of your head?" "I read a lot." She smirked. "Then you might actually survive in this business." Over the next week, Olivia stopped by more often. Sometimes it was to drop off documents, other times just to ask, "What are you working on now?" One afternoon, I admitted, "I'm trying to understand asset-backed securities." "But this report makes it sound like alien technology." She pulled up a chair. "It's simple. Think of it like a pizza. Each slice is a portion of the total value. Investors buy slices, and the toppings are the assets backing them." "That actually makes sense," she grinned. "See? Just needed the right metaphor." Jake noticed the change. "So who's Olivia?" He asked one night over beer. "She's a lawyer, smart, knows her stuff, and nothing. She's just someone who gets it." Jake smirked. "You like her?" "I like that she believes I can do this." For the 3rd month, I was pulling 12-hour days. I'd go to work, come home, read case studies, then watch online lectures until my eyes refused to stay open. One night, Olivia caught me still at the office past 9. "You're going to burn out," she said. "Not." If I keep moving, that's not how bodies work, Ethan. I'll rest when I'm where I need to be. She leaned against the doorway. And where's that? I met her eyes. Somewhere Ryan Mercer can't touch me. She didn't push after that. But I noticed the way she started slipping me reading lists, articles, and contacts. If you're going to learn from the best, she'd say. The more I learned, the clearer my path became. Investments, mergers, acquisitions, they were all about leverage. You didn't need to own everything. You just needed to control the right pieces. One Friday evening, Mr. Finch called me into his office. "You've been here 3 months." He said, "You've done more work than some people do in a year." Why? Because I need to know how this game works. And when you do, I'll start playing it. He smiled faintly. Careful, the game plays back. Jake was waiting. At my place that night, leaning on the counter, "I talked to your landlord," he said. "Why? Because she says you've been late twice on rent?" "Ethan, you can't keep killing yourself for a job that barely covers your bills. I'm not doing it for the job. I'm doing it for the knowledge." He sighed. "You're starting to sound like one of those motivational posters. Good, then maybe I'm motivating myself." Olivia called me later. "There's a business law seminar tomorrow. Big names, big ideas. You should come. Tickets." "Already handled." I hesitated. "Why me?" "'Cause you remind me of me when I started. Hungry, relentless, and a little reckless." "Which one's the compliment?" "Both." At the seminar, I soaked up every word. Olivia nudged me toward a group of investors. "Go introduce yourself. I don't belong in their circle yet." "You will," she said, "but you can't wait for permission to walk in." So I did. And for the first time, people with real money listened when I spoke. That night, lying in bed, I realized Jake was wrong about obsession. At least for me. Obsession wasn't killing me. It was keeping me alive. Mr. Finch slid a file across his desk. "This one's yours." I glanced at the name. Harper & Sons, the auto shop, family business. 30 years old, they're drowning. Me, because no one else wants to touch a sinking ship. If you can keep it afloat, you're ready for bigger clients. I nodded. "I'll take it." The next morning, I stepped into the Harper's cramped office. Oil fumes hung in the air. A gray-haired man stood up. "You must be the numbers guy." "Ethan Cole," I said, shaking his hand. "You're Tom Harper. That's me. My boys are in the garage. We're 2 months from shutting down." "Not if I can help it." "Show me your books." We sat at a scarred wooden desk while Tom slid over a binder. "You've got more going out than coming in," I said after flipping through the pages. "Tell me something I don't know. Your expenses are killing you. You're paying premium. Prices for parts you could get at a discount if you pooled orders with other shops." He frowned. "And why would they help me?" "'Cause they're in the same boat. You save together, you survive together." Nam leaned back. "And customers, your marketing is non-existent. We'll change that." 2 weeks later, Tom's shop had a joint ordering deal with 3 other garages. Flyers went out. A local Facebook page ran ads for discounts. One afternoon, Tom called me. "Ethan, you're a damn magician. We're booked solid next week." "Not magic," I said. "Strategy." Finch & Associates. Mr. Finch raised an eyebrow when I showed him the numbers. "You turned them profitable in under a month?" "Hey. Did the work? I just pointed the way. You're learning." That Friday, Tom handed me an envelope. "What's this?" I asked. "Your fee?" "I was already paid through the firm. I'm giving you this because you saved my family's business. Take it." I hesitated, then took it. The bills felt heavier than they should have. That night, Jake stopped by with a 6-pack. "You're smiling," he said. "I got my first win today. The shop?" "Yeah, they're turning a profit. Feels good. Better than I expected." Jake raised his beer. "To Ethan Cole, business fixer." A week later, Olivia found me at my desk. "Heard about the Harpers," she said. "News travels fast. Good news travels faster. I've got something you might be interested in." I leaned back. "Go on." "There's chatter Ryan's bank is looking for silent partners." Her words hit like a spark to gasoline. "You're sure?" Nothing public yet, but my contacts say they want investors to expand into new markets. I couldn't stop the smile. Owning a piece of his bank. It wouldn't make you rich overnight, she warned, but it would make you visible. That's the first step. Jake wasn't as enthusiastic when I told him. Ethan, this is exactly the kind of thing you need to be careful about. Careful is slow. Slow is dead. He shook his head. You're talking about going after Ryan directly? I'm talking about positioning myself. If I can get my foot in that door, you'll be playing in his world. And in his world, people get crushed. Not if I learn the rules faster than he can use them against me. The Harpers sent me a thank you card the next week. Inside was a handwritten note. You didn't just save our shop. You gave us hope. I read it 3 times. At the office, Mr. Finch tossed another file onto my desk. New client, small restaurant chain. They're bleeding cash. I grinned. Let's see if we can stop the bleeding. Livia stopped by later that day, leaning against the doorframe. You're different lately, she said. Different. How? More patient. Less frantic. Patience is a weapon. I'm learning to use it. And the bank. I'll wait for the right opening. But when it comes, I'll be ready. She gave a small smile. That's how you win. 3 months later, the Harpers hired 2 new mechanics. The restaurant client was in the black. My own bank account wasn't empty for once. Jake noticed. You're calmer now. I'm building. Momentum. 1 win at a time. You're turning into a strategist. I have to. This isn't just business, it's war. Olivia called one evening. Remember the bank thing? She asked. Yeah. They've started reaching out to potential investors quietly. If you want in, you'll need capital and someone to vouch for you. I can get the capital. The someone? Do I have one in mind? She paused. Maybe you do. That night. Lying in bed, I thought about the Harpers' handshake. Mr. Finch's grudging respect and Olivia's measured confidence. A year ago, I was the guy she left. Behind now, I was the man walking toward something bigger, one calculated step at a time. Jake adjusted my tie. You look like someone who owns the room already. Let's hope I can fake it if I don't. You've been faking it for a year, he smirked. Only difference is, now it's not fake. I gave him a dry look. It's a charity gala, not a victory parade. Tonight it's both. The ballroom was all chandeliers and champagne flutes. I moved through clusters of polite laughter until Olivia found me. You clean up well, she said. You mean, I look like I belong here. You do belong here. Remember that. We were mid-conversation when Olivia's eyes flicked past me. Don't turn around yet. Why not? Because Claire and Ryan just walked in. I inhaled slowly. Tell me you're kidding. I'd never joke about an ambush. I turned. Claire was in a deep emerald gown, diamonds catching the light. Ryan's tux probably cost more than my first car. Her gaze landed on me, and for a moment her smile faltered. Showtime, Olivia murmured. Claire approached first. Ethan, Claire. My voice was calm, even warm. You look different. Life's been good to me. Ryan joined her, scanning the room like he was too busy to focus. Olivia, he said, shaking her hand. Then to me, know each other? We've met, I said. Briefly. Claire's eyes lingered. What are you doing these days? I let the pause stretch. Better than ever. Her brows lifted slightly. It's good to hear. It is, I said. And you, enjoying married life? Her lips twitched. Not quite a smile. It's busy. Ryan's phone buzzed. Excuse me, he muttered, stepping away. Claire glanced after him, then back at me. I didn't expect to see you here. I go where the opportunities are. You always were ambitious. Smiled faintly. Used to like that about me. She didn't reply. Olivia touched my arm. They're starting the auction. Right, I said. But Claire's voice stopped me. Ethan, you've changed. Growth will do that. Her eyes searched mine. And you're happy? I'm exactly where I want to be. The auctioneer's voice filled the room, but I could feel Claire's gaze on me long after I'd turned away. Jake found me at the bar. You look like you just walked off a movie poster. Ran into Claire. His grin was instant, and she noticed. That's the first crack in the wall, my friend. Olivia joined us with 2 glasses of champagne. I saw the exchange. You handled it perfectly. Did I? You didn't gloat? You didn't beg? You let her wonder. Jake raised his glass. 2, letting them wonder. During dessert, Ryan's voice carried from a nearby table. We're finalizing the expansion deal next quarter. I sipped my drink, filing it away. Claire glanced my way again. This time, she didn't look away immediately. On my way out, she intercepted me near the coat check. Ethan. I turned. Yes. Whatever you're doing, it suits you. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, she hesitated. You seem touchable now, I smiled. Maybe I am. Outside. The night air was crisp. Jake fell into. Step beside me. She chased you down? Something like that? She's curious. That's dangerous for her. And useful for me, I said. In the car, Olivia looked over. You realized tonight wasn't just a social run-in. I know. It was a shift. Exactly. You didn't just cross paths, you stepped onto the same playing field. Next time, I said quietly, I'll own more than just the suit. Olivia tapped her pen against the folder. This is the first step. I glanced at the paperwork. 5,000 shares? That's nothing. Not when they're spread across 3 shell companies. It's not about sysits. It's about slipping under the radar. And you're sure Ryan won't notice? She smirked.
Ryan doesn't check under his own rug.
We sat in my office, a skyline view replacing the peeling walls I once stared at. I'll need more liquidity, I said. Your new clients come in. The richer they are, the faster this grows. Jake, leaning against the doorframe, raised an eyebrow. And the more you look like the kind of guy Ryan wouldn't see coming. Exactly, I said. 2 weeks later, Olivia called. We got another block 6,000 this time. Quietly, always. I smiled. Good. Keep it that way. By the end of the month, the consulting firm was buzzing. A real estate developer leaned over my desk one afternoon. Your projections cut my losses in half, he said. Want you on retainer? That can be arranged, I replied. Jake caught me after the meeting. You're stacking clients like poker chips. I'm stacking leverage, I corrected. That night, my phone buzzed. Claire, hey, long time. How? Have you been? I said it face down without replying. The next day, saw something that reminded me of you, again. I ignored it. By the 4th message, would love to catch up. I simply deleted it. Jake noticed. This isn't about her anymore. Not even a little. I looked up from my laptop. You're building something, distractions cost more than they're worth. Olivia dropped by with a flash drive. New list of available shares. Another silent seller could be worth grabbing. Price, but you can afford it now. I leaned back. Do it. She studied me. You're not rushing, and that's the difference. Ryan's empire isn't collapsing overnight. I'm not here to collapse it, I said. I'm here to control it. The pace became a rhythm, morning client meetings, afternoon calls with Olivia, evening research. I barely noticed the seasons changing outside my window. One night, Jake tossed me a beer and sat across from me. You ever think about what happens when you're holding too many strings? I think about how many I can hold without anyone realizing. He smirked. That's the part that scares me. You're enjoying this, wouldn't you? By spring, my name was whispered in circles that once ignored me. At a private dinner, an investor slid me his card. You're the guy who turned Whitaker and Sons around, said. I like to solve problems, I replied, and make money while you're at it. He chuckled. After he left, Olivia leaned over. You're playing it perfectly. No noise, no ego. Noise gets you noticed. Ego gets you sloppy. Patience gets you power, she added. One afternoon, my phone lit up. Claire again. Saw an article about you. Impressive. I locked the screen. Jake saw my expression. She's circling. She's wasting her time. Sure you're not wasting an opportunity? I shook my head. She's not part of the plan. We hit a milestone that summer my shell companies now held a noticeable but still hidden percentage of Ryan's bank. Olivia laid the numbers out on my desk. You're officially a ghost shareholder. Feels good, I said. Feels dangerous, she corrected, but in a good way. That evening, Claire sent another text. Dinner? Just as friends, I typed 3 letters, no, then erased them and left it blank. Silence was better. Jake dropped by later. You ever think ignoring her is its own form of revenge? I'm not doing this for revenge, I said. Then what for? I met his eyes. Control. The kind I never had before, Olivia called that night. We can buy another 2% next quarter. After that, people might start asking questions. That's fine, I said. By the time they notice, I'll have the answers. The moves were slow, deliberate, my kind of pace now. Every signed contract, every quiet acquisition, every unanswered text was part of the same game, and for the first time. I wasn't chasing anyone. I was making them chase me. Jake leaned across my desk, lowering his voice. You didn't hear this from me, but Ryan's been making some questionable plays with the bank's reserves? I raised an eyebrow. Questionable how?
Rumors?
It's bad loans to risky partners, covering them with short-term capital shifts. It's not illegal yet, but it's messy. Messy means opportunity, I said. He frowned. Messy also means unpredictable. Just don't get caught in the crossfire. I'm not close enough to the blast, I replied. Yet, the gala was held in a glass ballroom, light bouncing off champagne flutes and polished marble. Smoothed the sleeve of my jacket. Remember, we're here to mingle, not hunt, she murmured. I know, she smirked. I've seen that look before. Across the room, I spotted them, Rianne, in a tux that probably cost more than my first apartment, Claire in a silver gown that should have made her glow. But she didn't. Her smile was tight, her shoulders stiff. Gosh! She kept glancing at him, then at the floor. Olivia followed my gaze. They looked tense. Something's off, I said, as I worked the room. I noticed it again, Rianne, speaking to a board member, Claire standing beside him, but not quite with him. Her eyes wandered, scanning faces until they landed on mine. She held my gaze a fraction. Too long. Olivia leaned in. You're being watched. I know. Later I found myself near the champagne bar when Claire approached. Ethan, her voice was soft, almost hesitant. Claire, I kept my tone neutral. You look different. Better than ever, I said, echoing the words I'd once used before. Her lips twitched. I've heard things about you lately. Good things. I'm keeping busy. She glanced over her shoulder toward Ryan, who was deep in conversation. His back turned. Busy is good. Olivia appeared with 2 glasses. Everything okay here? Just catching up, Claire said quickly. I took a glass from Olivia. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Claire. Her expression flickered something. Between curiosity and disappointment as I walked away, Jake found me near the balcony. Saw that little exchange. She's not the same, I said. You mean she's not smiling like she won the lottery anymore? Something like that? Inside, Ryan's voice cut through the hum of conversation. He was speaking sharply. To a man I didn't recognize. Claire stood nearby, face tight, fingers wrapped around her clutch like a lifeline. Olivia whispered. If they're putting on a show, it's a bad one. They're cracking, I murmured. We left the gala before dessert. In the car, Olivia studied me. You're not rushing to use this, are you? No, I said. I don't have to. The best moves are the ones you don't make until the other side is already weak. She smiled faintly. Patience looks good on you. Back at my apartment, I poured myself a drink and stared out at the city lights. Claire's anxious eyes. Ryan's clipped tone. Jake's rumors, it was all lining up. Karma was already moving, and I didn't even need to push. Olivia closed the folder with a crisp snap. It's done. Every share transferred. You're officially the majority shareholder. I leaned back in my chair. How majority are we talking? 51.3. Enough to make Ryan answer to you. I exhaled slowly, and the board they'll be. Surprised, she smiled. But I've triple-checked. Every acquisition is legal. Every shell company accounted for. They can't touch you. 2 hours later, I was in the bank's boardroom. The long table gleamed under the harsh lights. Martin Gray, the chairman, glanced between me and the papers Olivia had distributed. This is highly irregular, Martin said, adjusting his glasses. It's perfectly within the bylaws, Olivia replied smoothly. The shares were purchased on the open market. Mr. Ethan Cole now holds majority control. Murmurs rippled around the table. Ryan's chair scraped back as he stood. This is a joke. I met his glare. It's not. You, his jaw tightened. You've been buying in behind my back? I said. Been buying. In front of everyone's face, you just didn't notice. Martin raised a hand. Gentlemen, please. The numbers speak for themselves. Ethan now holds controlling interest. That means nothing, Ryan snapped. I run this bank. You did? I said. Now you answer to me. The room fell silent. I could feel every pair of eyes on us. Ryan leaned over the table, voice low. If you think you can push me out, I don't want to push you out, I interrupted. I want you to stay right where you are. He blinked. Why? Because watching you work for me will be far more satisfying than firing you. Few board members shifted uncomfortably. Martin cleared his throat. In that case, we'll need to schedule a formal vote on the new leadership structure. Olivia slid a document toward him, already prepared. Ethan will be recognized as majority shareholder and given final say on executive decisions. Ryan's fists clenched. You think you've won? I smiled faintly. No, I know I have. The vote was quick protocol more than anything. The time we left the room, Ryan's face was pale, his steps clipped. In the hallway, he caught up to me. This isn't over. Of course it isn't, I said. You still have to show up to work tomorrow. Olivia and I stepped outside, into the cool evening air. That was brutal, she said. I wasn't trying to be brutal. You were trying to be in control, she corrected. And you are. At dinner, Jake leaned across the booth. So let me get this straight. You own his bank now? Majority shares, I said. Control without the mess of running day to day. He let out a low whistle. You realize most people would have fired him on the spot. I'm not most people, I replied. Jake smirked. You're playing the long game. Back at my place, Olivia poured 2 glasses of wine. You know who's going to try something? I'm counting on it, I said. She studied me. You're different from the guy who walked into my office 2 years ago. I was desperate back then, and now, I took the glass. Now I'm in control. The next morning, I walked into the bank's lobby. Staff looked up as I passed, some curious, some wary. Ryan emerged from his office, his smile forced. Good morning, Ethan, he said. The words tasting bitter on his tongue. Morning, Ryan. Let's have a productive day. Martin met me in the hallway. I've been in banking a long time, he said. Never seen a takeover this clean. Then you'll understand why I want it to stay clean, I replied. He nodded. Understood. In my new office a corner. 1. Naturally, I looked out over the city. The view was good. The feeling was better for the first time. Ryan's empire wasn't untouchable. It was mine. I heard the knock before I saw him come in. I said, keeping my voice even. Ryan stepped. Inside, jaw tight, suit perfect but shoulders stiff. You asked to see me? I did, I said, motioning to the chair across from my desk. Sit, I'll stand. Suit yourself. I leaned back. Coffee? No. From the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of movement outside the glass wall. Claire. She sat on the waiting bench, her hands folded in her lap, eyes down. She came with you? I asked. Ryan glanced over his shoulder. Right. We had another meeting after this. She looks different, I said quietly. Leave her out of this. I smiled faintly. If that's what you want. He turned back to me. Let's not waste time. You got lucky. I got strategic. I corrected. Fine, strategic, whatever you want to call it. But I'm willing to make this easier for both of us. You sell me your shares. I'll pay more than market value. No, I said. He blinked. Just like that? No. Just like that. Why? His tone was sharp now, because I said, I like watching my investments grow. His lips pressed into a thin line. This isn't a stock to you. It's personal. Everything's personal when you've put this much work into it. He exhaled hard, pacing a slow circle.
You think sitting in that chair makes you a banker?
No, I said. It makes me your boss. That's temporary. Maybe, I said.
Or maybe it's the new reality.
He'd stopped pacing and leaned forward over the desk. You don't understand how this business works. There are politics, relationships, reputations. Funny, I cut in. That's exactly what I've been building for the last few years. Quietly. Well, you weren't paying attention? His eyes narrowed. So what's the plan? Run me out? Not yet, I said. He stared at me for a beat too long. You enjoy this? I do. There was a knock on the doorframe. Claire stepped in slightly, her voice tentative. Ain't Ryan. We're going to be late for, I said, wait outside. He snapped. Her gaze flicked to me for just a moment, quick, unreadable, before she stepped back out. Ryan shook his head. I haven't even started. I said, this obsession will cost you, or it'll make me, I said. Either way, I'm in no hurry. He stood straighter. I'll find a way around you, and I'll see you try. He started toward the door, but I called after him. Ryan, he stopped. Get used to knocking before you come in here, I said. His jaw worked, but he said nothing and left. The office felt quiet once the door shut. Through the glass, I saw Claire still sitting there, her posture rigid, and when she finally stood, she didn't look at me, but her shoulders seemed heavier than before. Olivia walked. In a moment later, so how was our first royal audience? Predictable, I said. He offered to buy you out immediately, and you said, I told him I like watching my investments grow. She smirked. That'll sting. I turned back to the window. The city moved below, fast and restless, but in here, everything was still. It was the first taste, not of money, not even of victory, but of control, and I wasn't letting it go. The elevator doors slid open, and there she was, alone. No Ryan, no entourage. Ethan, she said softly. Claire stepped aside. Come in. She walked past me, glancing around the office like she was trying to memorize it. It's different from what I imagined. How so? Warmer. She gave a faint smile, less corporate. Guess I'm not trying to impress bankers. She turned toward me, hands clasped. I didn't come here to talk about your decor and talk. She hesitated. I owe you an apology. For what? You know what? I leaned against the desk. Say it anyway. Her throat worked. For leaving you the way I did? For choosing him? For selling out? I finished. She winced. I thought I was making the smart choice. Stability, security, but I didn't see the cost. I said nothing. She stepped closer. Ryan isn't who I thought he was. Not after the wedding. He's controlling, cold. And she looked away. He's been unfaithful. I let the silence stretch. And now you want what exactly? Sympathy? No. Just to tell you I'm sorry. And to tell you, she stopped, voice catching. I missed the way you loved me. The real love. Not whatever this is now. Now, I asked. Now I own his company. Her eyes flickered. I'm not here for that. Sure, she sighed. You think I'm lying? I think you're nostalgic. Is that so wrong? It's convenient, I said. She moved to the window, staring out. When you used to hold me, I felt safe. When he holds me, I feel owned, watched, like I'm just another asset. In his portfolio? That's what you signed up for? Her shoulders tensed. I know. I walked closer. You had the truth in front of you once. You didn't want it. You wanted a lifestyle. She turned. I wanted a future. Got one, I said. Just not the one you pictured. Tears welled in her eyes. You really don't care anymore, do you? Care enough to remember, but not enough to feel it. That's worse. It's for you, maybe. She swallowed hard. Then I guess that's it. I just needed you to know. Mission. Accomplished. She lingered, like she was waiting for me to crack. I didn't. Finally, she said, I hope one day you find someone who loves you the way you deserve. I already do, I said. Me. Her breath hitched, but she nodded. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Claire. When the door closed behind her, I didn't feel lighter. I didn't feel heavier either, just steady. This wasn't closure. It was confirmation. Ryan stepped into my office, folder in hand. Jaw tight. You wanted the quarterly breakdown, he said. I did sit. He stayed standing. It's all in there, I said. Sit, Ryan. He dropped into the chair like it might burn him. Walk me through it, I said. It's self-explanatory.
I'm not. Pretend I'm not as smart as you think you are.
His eyes flickered. Fine. Revenue's up 3%. Operating costs are stable. Define stable. He hesitated. Within projected margins. That's vague. Give me numbers. His jaw worked. Operating costs are up 1.2% from last quarter. There we go. Continue. He went line by line, voice clipped, until he reached the last. Page, approval for the new branch, he asked. Denied? His head snapped up. What? We've been planning that for 6 months. And I'm not convinced the market supports it yet. This is micromanaging, he snapped. It's ownership, I corrected. You don't even have banking experience. I smiled. No, but I own this bank. Experience comes second to authority. He shoved the folder across the desk. Then you make the decisions. Anything else? His nostrils flared. You're enjoying this immensely. The silence between us was thick. Finally, he said, you could have bought any company. Why mine? I leaned forward because it was yours. He pushed back his chair, standing. What day you'll regret this? Maybe, but until then, I expect next week's report on my desk by Monday morning. His voice was cold. Fine. When he left, Olivia stepped in, holding her tablet. You're pushing him hard. That's the point. Careful. She said, cornered men do desperate things. I know, I'm counting on it. Later that week, I walked into the boardroom for a strategy meeting. Ryan was already there, flipping through a presentation. Morning, I said. He barely looked up. Morning. The meeting dragged on until he brought up a marketing initiative. I'd like to approve a $500,000 increase in the ad budget, he said. Denied, I replied. The board members glanced at each other. Ryan's voice sharpened. Without visibility, we'll lose ground to competitors. Then find a way to gain visibility without spending $500,000, I said. Martin Gray, the chairman, cleared his throat. Gentlemen, maybe we know, Ryan cut in. This isn't how a CEO operates. I smiled at him across the table. No, this is how my CEO operates. When the meeting ended, Claire was waiting in the hallway. Ethan, she said softly. Claire, I nodded. She looked down. You're really making him answer to you for everything? I shouldn't. No reason, she said quickly, then walked away. The next week, Ryan came in with another proposal. I need approval to restructure the loan division, he said. Show me the plan. Handed it over. I flipped through it slowly, watching. His impatience build. This section here, I said, tapping the page, doesn't address potential default risks. It's a preliminary draft. Then come back with a final one. He leaned forward. You're treating me like an intern. You're acting like one. His face darkened. You're humiliating me. No, Ryan, you're humiliating yourself by making this about ego instead of performance. He stood abruptly. I'll send the revisions. Good man, I said, just to twist the knife. By the end of the month, I denied 3 of his projects, altered to others, and required personal sign-off on all contracts above $100,000. Every time we met, he looked more worn, more hollow. Claire stopped speaking to me entirely when we crossed paths, eyes fixed on the floor, exactly how I wanted it. Olivia burst into my office without knocking. You need to see this, she said, dropping a file on my desk. I glanced at the numbers. Where did this come from? Ryan authorized a $10 million investment in a tech startup last. Mun, no board approval, no sign-off from you. My jaw tightened, and it tanked. Filed for bankruptcy this morning. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I leaned back. He thought he could gamble his way back into control. Olivia's voice was sharp. He gambled. With your bank's money? Call an emergency board meeting, I said. Today. 2 hours later, the boardroom was packed. Ryan sat at the far end, arms crossed. I opened the meeting. We have a problem. A large investment was made without approval, and it's now worthless. Martin adjusted his glasses. Ryan, is this true? Ryan didn't flinch. It was a calculated risk. If it had worked, it didn't. I cut in. He shot me a glare. You're turning this into a witch hunt? No, I said evenly. I'm holding you accountable. A murmur went around the table. Martin cleared his throat. Ryan. The bylaws require major investments to be approved by both the board and majority shareholder. I'm the CEO, Ryan said. And I'm the majority shareholder, I replied. Martin's tone shifted. The loss is substantial. We need to decide how to proceed. I let the silence hang. I'm calling for a vote on his removal as CEO. Ryan's chair screeched against the floor as he stood. This is ridiculous, is it? Said. You bypassed procedure, lost millions, and put the bank at risk. One by one, hands went up. Martin's was the last. The motion passes, he said. Effective immediately. Ryan's face flushed. You can't do this. The room emptied slowly, leaving only Martin and me. You want me to take the position? He asked. Yes. Steady leadership. No ego-driven stunts. He nodded, understood. When I stepped into the hallway, Claire was there. What happened? She asked. Ask your husband. Her lips trembled. Soon-to-be ex-husband. I filed for divorce this morning. I said nothing. He's not the man I thought he was, she continued. He's cold, controlling, and now broke. Sounds familiar, I said. She reached out. Ethan, I stepped back. Don't. Welled in her eyes. I made a mistake. Not my problem to fix. She swallowed. We couldn't, I said, walking past her. Back in my office, Olivia was waiting. It's done, she said. Martin's interim CEO. The staff will be informed tomorrow. Good, she studied me. Claire called here twice. I'm not answering. You're really not going to talk to her. She didn't call when she was happy in his mansion, I said. She calls now because it's crumbling. Olivia smirked. Cold. It's focused. I corrected. That night my phone buzzed.
Oh.
Claire's name lit up the screen. I let it ring out. A minute later, a message came through. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I deleted it without reading further. Ryan's downfall wasn't loud to the public yet. But inside the walls of his former empire, the whispers had already started, and I didn't have to say a word. I was reviewing quarterly reports. When Olivia stepped in, You're going to want to see this, she said. What now? I asked, leaning back. She smirked. Claire's been hired. Marketing department. I raised an eyebrow. Here, she confirmed. First day is today. I closed the folder slowly. Who approved that? Martin, she said. Apparently, she's qualified. Strong resume, according to HR. I let out a short laugh. Of course she is. Olivia tilted her head. Do you want me to? No, I cut in. Let it be. Hours later, my phone buzzed. From HR, payroll authorization needed for new marketing hire. Signature required. I knew before I opened the file. Olivia appeared again at my door. Guess whose paycheck needs your signature? I figured, I said. She placed the document. In front of me, she'll be here in a minute. The knock came sooner than I expected. Come in, I said. The door opened. And there she was, Claire. Professional blazer, hair perfectly arranged. Makeup just enough to suggest effort without desperation. Ethan, she said, voice steady. But low? Claire, I replied. She stepped forward, placing the payroll form on my desk. HR said you needed to sign this before I can get processed. I nodded and picked up my pen. That's right. Her eyes flickered over my office-polished wood desk, floor-to-ceiling windows, the skyline beyond. You've done well. She said. I have. There was a pause. She shifted her weight. I didn't know you were this involved here. You didn't ask, I said, signing my name slowly. She let out a quiet breath. I wasn't expecting to be working under you. You're not working under me, I said. But your paycheck passes through my hands. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You enjoy that? I looked up at her. Not particularly. She hesitated, searching my face. You could have stopped this? If you didn't want me here, I'm not in the habit of blocking people from earning a living, I said. The silence stretched. She finally said, I'm not here to cause trouble. I didn't assume you were. I'm here because I need the job, she added. I signed the last page and set the pen down. Then do it well. She glanced at the paper. That's it? That's it? Her voice softened. No speech? No. I told you so. I leaned back in my chair. Claire, I'm not here to relive the past. I'm here to run a bank. She blinked, almost as if she'd been expecting something sharper.
I knew you've changed.
I've grown, I corrected. Her lips pressed together. I thought maybe she stopped. Maybe what? I asked. Maybe you'd still hate me enough to gloat. I met her eyes. Hate takes energy. I'm not wasting mine. The flicker in her gaze shame. Mabel asked a second before she looked down. She reached for the signed papers. Thank you. As she turned toward the door, I said, Claire. She stopped, looking over her shoulder. Yes. I hope you use this job to move forward. Nothing else. She nodded once and left without another word. The office was quiet again. I stared at the signed form still on my desk, a copy for records. Her name printed neatly, now paired with my signature. Olivia appeared in the doorway. How'd it go? She got what she came for? Olivia smirked. And you? Peace, I said. Not satisfaction. Act, she asked. I shook my head. I didn't win by destroying her, Olivia. I won by building myself. She studied me for a moment, then smiled. That's annoyingly mature of you. Don't tell anyone, I said. Later that afternoon, I passed the marketing department. On my way to a meeting, Claire was at her desk, focused on her computer, surrounded by people who didn't know or care about our history. She didn't look up. I didn't stop. There was no thrill in this moment. No final jab, no clever parting line, just the quiet understanding that life had shifted. I'd stepped into a place where her choices no longer defined me, and for the first time, that was enough.